There we go. Hi, everyone. So my name's Donna. Welcome to today's network meeting. Today we are talking about greening up the menu with a specific focus on exploring community gardens in schools. So we do have a couple of special guest speakers, but before we get into that, I did want to do acknowledgement of country. So Quast acknowledges the traditional owners of the lands from across Queensland. We pay our respects to the elders past, present and emerging, for they hold the memories, the traditions, the culture and the hopes of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples across the state. My name is Donna. For those who haven't met me before, I am the project manager here at Quast for the Healthier Tuckshops Support Program. I'm a nutritionist by trade. I have over 15 years experience in stakeholder engagement and health promotion, and I've been heavily involved in P&Cs and school tuck shops for at least 6 to 7 years now. So a little bit less in the last year or so, but I do somehow find some time to volunteer for a couple of hours every other week at the tuck shop at the moment, which it's little things like labeling is what I like to go in for and do now, just so that the tuck shop conveners can focus on actually preparing the food. Now, in terms of what we're going to be talking about today, what we might do is we'll do introductions of the special guest speakers in one moment. But I did want to talk about what's happening at Quast. We did release our Healthier Tuck Shop e-newsletter last week. If you haven't seen that, please do check that out. We have a link to all of the recipes that were the finalists for the recipe of the year. So please do have a look at that. And there's some really good recipes in there. We are planning on releasing a recipe book later in the year with all of the recipes from Recipe of the Year as well, because they were all amazing this year. But we're working through that at the moment, so we'll let you know. Talking Tuck Shops is our member-only magazine, and that is also being released in a couple of weeks. But if you've got any questions about what else we offer on this program, please do check out the Healthier Tuck Shops webpage for more resources. We have some upcoming network meetings. So in the next fortnight, we'll be talking about using Canva on this statewide network meeting. And then 2 weeks after that, we'll be talking about theme days, just as a bit of a conversation and lean into Christmas. So I might even make it a bit more Christmas themed as we get a bit closer. We also have some regional network meetings. So we'll be at Ipswich State High School tomorrow, at Southport State School in 2 weeks. So everyone who's down at the Gold Coast, they'll actually be able to taste test the winner of Recipe of the Year, the butter chicken. Angelique has been kind enough to put that on for us. And I haven't updated the slides. Sorry, Raylene, I've just seen that now. But Raylene's actually going to be hosting that one on the 22nd of November out in Dalby. So we'll be there visiting Dalby South State School in week 8. So that's some exciting times coming up. We also have some training. So it's all on our website, but if you are interested in any of our training courses, we have put a few new courses on recently. And Food Safety Supervisor, we've actually released some new dates, but we're just waiting for the registration link. So we actually have some more dates available, but we actually haven't been able to promote them yet. So if you would like to do your Food Safety Supervisor course, please do so. We have some dates now and obviously in term 1 next year. All right, let's get to what we're actually here about today, which is greening up the menu and focusing in on community school gardens. We do have some special guests. So from Pick of the Crop program, which is a Health and Wellbeing Queensland program, we have regional coordinators Keith from the North Coast region and Samantha from the Southeast region. So hi, Keith and Samantha, how are you?
Good, thanks for having us.
Yeah, very well, thanks.
Very happy to have you here. And we also have Sarah Potts, who is the Tuck Shop co-convener from Kenmore South State School. And Sarah is a little bit of an inspiration in the world for anyone who is interested in exploring community gardens and how to get them going in the school environment. I've been out to visit Sarah at her place of work, and the community garden out there it's just lovely. Like, we had such a beautiful day. We were only there for a couple of hours and I didn't want to leave. We had such a good time. So hi, Sarah, how are you?
Yes, I'm very well, thank you.
Thank you so much. I know this is your one day where you actually don't work, so it is like sacrilege that I'm actually making you do this today. So I really apologize.
I was really happy to be here, and it's a nice thing to talk about. It's what I'm passionate about. So it's all good.
Thank you. Oh, well, thank you for coming along. today to talk to everyone. So the way that we're going to run today is we're going to talk about Pick of the COP program first. Keith and Samantha, I'll turn over to them for about 15 minutes just to have a walk through their program. I'll explain Pick of the Crop really quickly before I do that. And then after that, Sarah will have a chance to have a discussion or just talk to us about how she's gone about implementing the community school garden at Kenmore South. And then we'll be open for questions after that for both programs. But if you do have any questions whilst we're actually going through or while people are presenting, please do put your hand up, put it into the chat. I'm really happy to raise that question on behalf of you, or if you can't take yourself off mute, or if you're a little bit shy, I'm really happy to do that on your behalf. So all right, so what we might do with Pick of the Crop. So Keith and Samantha are regional coordinators. So what that means is they are responsible for implementing Pick of the Crop program into schools across certain areas in Queensland. And it's a whole of school healthy eating program. I don't know, has anyone heard of Pick of the Crop from your areas at all? Oh,
No.
great. Well, that's good. That's good that you don't know about it. This is perfect because it is all about spreading awareness. This is an amazing program, this one. And it's really focused on increasing that opportunity for primary school children to learn about and eat more fruit and vegetables. And it's really sort of, I guess it's founded in that intention of encouraging children to eat more vegetables in the day-to-day life, but also to integrate it more into their meals and how they, and to seek it out and to see that vegetables and fruit can actually be really quite tasty and really quite enjoyable. Now, there is a link to the general Pick of the Crop program there. If you would like to get in contact with either Sam or Keith directly after this, please do let me know. I'm more than happy to share their contact details and get you in contact, even if they're not from your region. I know that there are several other regional coordinators across Queensland, and I'm sure that we can get you in contact with the right regional coordinator. There are some free resources online. I've just grabbed a couple of examples here. You can't really read them, but there is a whole, and that's because there's just so much information about what this program provides. So not just with funding, it provides you access to a whole lot of resources that are available should you want to participate in Pick of the Crop. But that's enough from me. I'm going to turn over to the experts. So Keith, I might throw to you first and have a chat about sort of what you're doing in the schools that you're working with. And then Sam, we might throw to you after that. So thank you.
Okay, that's fine. Sam's going to give a broader overview of the program because she's been involved a lot longer than I have and has covered a lot more ground than I have. I began with
did you want to swap? Sam, did you want to go first then?
yeah, that'd be great actually. Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
let's do that.
works well.
Flexible.
Okay, I do actually have a couple of slides if you'd like. I always like to
Yes,
show a few
absolutely.
pictures. Sorry, I'm so used to
will.
Teams. Just wondering.
I'm going to
Where do I
stop my
share?
share. There we go. And now if you should be able to share your slides
Yep,
now.
there
Oh,
we
that's better. I can actually
go.
see everyone. Hi, Carmel. How are you? You didn't hear me before when I said hello.
I will just get to that one and
Ah, perfect.
okay. Is that working?
Yes,
All good.
fabulous.
Yeah,
Thank you,
awesome.
Sam.
Awesome. So I think you kind of gave a little bit of an overview. That's what I thought I'd do today as well. So Pick of the Crop is, as you said, a whole school healthy eating program, and it's based around the student learning and wellbeing framework, as well as the healthy food and drink supply strategy for Queensland schools, which I'm sure many of you are quite familiar with. So with our program, we did start off in three very small locations, and that was Logan, Bundaberg and Bowen. And we were only working with a small population there with it as a pilot phase. So I think now we're in our third year, we're starting to expand out and we're eligible for state primary schools. So currently, and Keith, jump in if I've missed anyone, we're working in North Queensland, North Coast, so that's including Bundaberg, Wide Bay and Gympie, Southeast Queensland, currently we're in Logan and the Redlands, Darling Downs and Southwest. But again, those regions are probably likely to expand next year as well. We're just confirming which regions they will be eligible for. So we'll definitely update you on that as well. So yeah, at the moment we're doing a lot of engagement with schools in hope that a lot more schools come on board next year with our program. So what does our program look like? Essentially, we call it a program, but we realize it's actually more of an initiative because we don't have a set way of rolling it out. So what we do is we work with the schools, look at what they're already doing and how we can increase more fruit and veg into the day. So we have 5 components that I'll go through in a little bit, and that's what we kind of base our initiative on. But we're really working with a school, things they're already doing, trying not to increase an extra workload, essentially. And we also provide funding and our support on how to do that as well. So what that looks like loosely at the moment is when we engage with a school, they're eligible for up to $5,000 to spend on a range of different areas. And then the next year or so, they can have an extra $2,000. So it's not like a typical grant where you get the money, you have to spend it by a certain point. We know that schools are busy, things don't always work that way. So often schools will ask for the $5,000, we'll help them plan that out, and then we'll work with them throughout the year. If they haven't spent the money by the end of the year, we just work on rolling that over to the next year. So the aim is sort of by the 3rd year, schools are set up in a way that they don't need that extra funding support. But if they do, we do like to look at the different initiatives that are happening around and provide them with that information about extra funding and that sort of thing. So where I guess as coordinators, we like to be the connectors to the things happening or maybe programs that schools don't know about, and help them so they're not doing all the work. So that's what we're here for. So what that looks like is based around these 5 components. So food and farmer connections is really looking at what is available in the area, particularly in the metro areas. It's not always a farmer connection. It might be more of a producer. And I'll go through a bit more of that in a minute too. Teaching and learning. So that's looking at how you can link fruit and veg to curriculum, veggies and fruit at school, healthy school environments and parent connections. So I like to use pictures when I talk about this because it's just it gives you a bit more of an idea of how that can be integrated. So essentially when we're working with schools, we write out a plan with them and talk them through. We have a school champion. So that may be a mix of people. It could be teachers, it could be P&C members, it could be tuckshop conveners. So it's great to have a real range of people working on it together, as obviously people have so many different areas where they can see that this can be really beneficial for a school as well. But food and farmer connection, so that may be something like having a school excursion or an incursion, getting people to come in and provide that sort of one-on-one incursion. So it's not always possible to go out on excursions. Teaching and learning, as I mentioned, it's all that curriculum-based stuff. So there's so many different ways you can talk about fruit and veg and getting it into your day. We've had nutritionists come into schools. This little picture here where people are drawing, this is actually where they learnt about gardens, and then they also had fruit platters and drew them and sort of got it into it in a really creative way. And I guess we know with fruit and veg, it's not always about eating it. There's other ways that can encourage children to even just think about fruit and veg. So the more they're seeing that, the more normalized it becomes. So there's so many different ways you can do it. We have networking meetings. So we try and get all of the schools in an area together. We invite them all along to talk about what they're doing with Pick of the Crop and how they can support each other. So creating that community connection is really big for us. We like to ensure that schools feel supported when we're not always there. And I guess the aim is long term that we aren't there and that schools are just really just able to do this really well and lean on the support of the community. So healthy school environments. So this is really where Quast fits in here. And it's looking at the tuck shops and how you can integrate fruit and veg there, looking at how you can use the school garden within the tuck shops. And that's something Keith will chat about a bit more as well. And really just creating that culture around fruit and veg, normalizing that. Veggies and fruit at school, again, looking at the different types of days that happen, under 8's day, that sort of thing, any fundraiser, and making a lot of the snacks, you know, those ones that are, you know, fruit kebabs and all these things that, rather than always leaning on what are often seen as popular as hamburgers, that sort of thing. It's not always the case. Kids often love having their fruit and veg as well. And parent connection. So again, trying to really integrate that community, get parents in, whether it's having a cooking class or having some sort of event. We love to sort of integrate that as well. So as you can see, that's very broad, and there's lots of different ways that it can be integrated. But that's what we're here for, is to help lead towards certain programs that schools may be interested in. We talk them through the programs that exist, and then look at the funding that we can provide as well and support the schools with that. And this is just a bit of a step-by-step on how to apply for that. So this is the website here, but as Donna mentioned before, feel free to reach out to us as well if you have any questions. Even if you're not sure if Pick Up the Crops in your area yet, we do have a list that we're collating with people, the schools that are interested. So we know that, I guess, the greater interest, hopefully we can have more regional coordinators there. And then we can contact you as the program becomes available. So yeah, that's a very brief overview, but I know that Keith wanted to talk a bit more about the gardens, and obviously if we have any time for questions at the end too, feel free to ask anything about that.
Thank you, Sam. That was lovely. That was a really it's a very difficult program to actually provide a summary for, because you do so much. So that was actually really well done. I feel like you've done that a few times now.
Yeah. It is a hard one to explain because it is so broad, but that's honestly what I love about it, is that you're working with the school. So yeah.
It's a real fit for purpose, isn't it, really? So using community gardens, or if you don't have that opportunity, working in with produce suppliers, you could bring the fruit and veg into the schools and make it work that way for you as well. So you don't actually have to always grow it, but you can, or you can bring it in. Okay. That's fabulous. Love it. Over to you, Keith. I'll stop talking.
Thanks, Donna. Thanks, Samia. That is a really great overview. I learned some stuff myself. I've been working in this role since term 1 this year, I think. I came towards the end of term 1, so not a long time. I've started rolling out program in Gympie region and Maryborough education region, and have recruited 12 schools in each of those regions. And like Sam said and Donna said, the action plans that we develop are really developed and applied individually according to the school needs. So, and what they have in place already. A lot of my schools, especially in Gympie region, have already got garden infrastructure. A lot of them were part of the Stephanie Alexander Kitchen Garden Foundation. And a lot of schools in Maryborough, while they weren't part of the Kitchen Garden program, they have taken up gardens as a real significant feature of their Pick of the Crop action plans. So in terms of what we do provide some funding and support. And my background is particularly in gardening, and I worked at Kinkin State School for 12 years in their Stephanie Alexander Kitchen Garden program. So I've got a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge. I was actually a professional gardener for quite a long time, working in organic food production. So I have been able to support the schools that are in my regions with a lot of practical advice on how to go about boosting their gardens or creating new gardens that are sustainable and that are, lower maintenance. So how to try for something that's really achievable. A lot of people want to start big and just want to get everything done yesterday, whereas I'm all about, come on, let's plan about what's in season, what's going to be easier to grow. Just have step back and have a bit of a plan. And I think that's a really important part of gardening. What a lot of schools are doing is a lot of my schools don't have tuck shops, but some do. But a lot of schools are using the kitchen garden uh, for cooking lessons with the children. So they'll have a gardening lesson with the children, and then at the same time the children will harvest and produce a meal either for themselves or for the whole school in some cases. Um, so though that in a lot of the smaller schools, that's a de facto kind of tuck shop. So in terms of the larger schools that I have, some of them do have gardens that are feeding either the breakfast clubs or the school tuck shops. I was going to talk about essentially what are some of the more easy to grow crops that you might choose to grow for yourself as starter crops that are very user friendly for tuck shop meals. So I'll just give you a listen. These are things that grow pretty much across Queensland, although probably at different times of the year. You've got to check your seasonal planting guides um, to know exactly when to plant and when to harvest these things. So some of the more reliable things I have found and easier things to grow are salad sprouts. And these can be done indoors, in pots, in trays, even with the sprouts kit with just water. They're terribly nutritious, packed full of protein, and just a fantastic, tasty addition um, to a salad sandwich or to a salad or to a burger or anything like that. And you can get a whole range of different types of sprout. You can get radish, you can get broccoli, you can get mung beans, alfalfa, and you can keep just planting and harvesting daily or weekly if you wanted to, if you had a system going. So I can't um, push sprouts enough. I think they're probably the easiest, most reliable, most nutritious, um, hardy crop that you can have, and week by week you can involve the kids, and they're not going to get bored waiting to eat what they've planted as well, which is really good. You don't need a lot of space. In terms of other stuff that do take a bit longer, I do find that lettuces are fantastic because then they only take about 8 weeks, and across Queensland you'll be able to find a variety that will be in season in winter, summer, spring, and autumn. So lettuces are a really good, reliable leafy crop for you to grow. Um, I'm not going to tell you what you're going to use them in because you already know what that would be for. And zucchinis were pumping out of the school gardens this year. They do like quite a rich soil, a bit of feed, but if you do provide them with the adequate soil and water, zucchinis can be really bountiful, and they're the kind of thing that you can hide in pasta sauces.
Oh, I think this
I
he's
mentioned that
frozen.
Mediterranean herbs. Sorry, is that a question? No.
No, I
Pardon?
was just gonna say you froze for one moment there. So, but you're back. So we're good.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like,
Okay. And Mediterranean herbs are easy to grow across Queensland. They require less effort, I think, and they're than than a lot of veggies that we grow. Less water, less effort, less nutrition, but they're packed full of flavour and health benefits. So things like basil, oregano, parsley, all those things are just fantastic. I think that they are a great starter garden plant for veggie gardens. Um, I think if you are interested, I think Sarah's probably got a better perspective to share about providing tuck shops with fresh produce. But I always I think it's really important to note that an irrigation system, if you're going to grow veggies, you do need some reliable watering system in place. That's the one bottom line that's one essential thing that's really needed if you're going to produce reliable crops. And also, you just got to be aware of what pests are around, and that can include vandals. A lot of the bigger schools in their veggie gardens have problems with human pests vandalising the garden spaces. But yes, each of us regional coordinators have our own backgrounds and our own areas of expertise, and we're all available to share our experiences and our knowledge with you, whether you're part of Pick of the Crop or whether you just wanted to reach out and ask a question of us. You're more than welcome to do that. So that's it.
Thank you, Keith
You're welcome.
and Samantha. That was lovely. And I was furiously taking notes, and it was making me think about my community garden that we have at my son's local school. And I absolutely agree with the zucchinis. Like, we have actually they've grown so many, they're actually giving them away to the community. They don't have enough, like they don't have enough recipes in the tuck shop to use them, short of it just being zucchini.
That's
So
good.
yeah, no, it's been a very, very popular, that one.
That's
So
good to
thank
hear.
you.
And you'll find that you can hide them in chocolate muffins and everything.
Absolutely. I've done that before. Kids
Yeah.
were none the wiser. Now, did anyone have any questions to Keith or Sam before we hand over to Sarah, who I know also has some lovely slides to share as well?
I don't think so.
No. Well, if you do think of anything, I will pass out all the information for Pick of the Crop after this anyway, so you'll get it in an email to everyone.
I've
So,
seen one from Deb pop up. A question from Deb.
Deb.
Is that?
Oh,
Yeah.
there you are.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
onto it, Keith. You're better at this than I am. When you mentioned salad sprouts, have you tried microgreens?
Yeah. I think I have grown a lot of microgreens. I think microgreens essentially are a week older than a sprout. So they've got a few leaves growing on them. And again, it's the same sort of species that you might grow, but so a lot of leftover seeds are fantastic for microgreens and sprouts as well. You just get mixtures, so radish, broccoli, carrot, they're all really tasty. So yeah, definitely microgreens is great.
One. Nice idea,
Can I
Deb.
ask a quick question? I don't know if I
Yeah.
missed it, but so can I ask about the cost of Pick of the Crop? Yeah.
Yeah, so there's no cost at this stage. It is only available to certain schools, so that's the biggest thing, really. But yeah, I guess it is a government-funded program, so the cost is really just getting in contact with it. So yeah,
Right.
it is a great program in that it does provide up to $7,000 for over 3 years. We're just really here to support schools to be able to, I guess, carry out a lot of actions that they're keen to do.
So it's just a matter of applying and
Yeah, it's good in that with applying, it's not really an online process. It's more about getting in contact with us. We can come out to the school or do a phone call, whatever works for the school. And then from there, we really try to do a lot of the work for the schools because we know how busy they are. So we'll go out, we'll have a chat about what they're wanting to do, how they're wanting to spend the money. If they're thinking about any types of programs, we can direct them to ones that are available if they don't know of any that they're keen themselves. So we don't really have set programs that we direct to either. We have a list, but if there's a program in the community or the one that they're already running, but they need some extra funding, really, as long as it contributes to fruit and veg consumption or, I guess exposure to that, we're generally okay with providing the funding for that. So we're kind of, as coordinators, we're the support person to help work through that action plan. So you're not doing it alone. Often we can write it up if you don't have time to do that. And then we'll work on it before submitting to Health and Wellbeing Queensland. That way we know, I guess we sort of know what will be accepted and what won't. And really the biggest things that won't be accepted is, I'm trying to think of an example. We have up to about $3,000. We're happy to go towards the garden. If it's too much money just towards produce, so if you're wanting more than, say, $500 just for fruit boxes, we try to discourage that, but that's really just because we want it to be sustainable. So we're happy to put a bit of money towards that and look into ways on how we can maybe have a local producer provide some for you as well. So yeah, I don't know if that answers the question. It's easy for me to go off on a tangent.
Yeah, that's all right. I might get in contact with you anyway and just explore the whole thing. Sounds really interesting.
Awesome. Now, Sarah, I feel like you're also delaying tactics because I know you get very nervous talking to other people.
I'm always nervous. That's just my general default setting.
Well, look, I'm going to give you 2 minutes grace, or 30 seconds, because I'm going to share my slides that I have, because I just wanted to share some of the pictures that I took when I was out at your school.
Great. Okay.
Yeah. So there you go. So this is some photos of when I went out. And I was lucky. It was a very sunny day when I went. So this is Sashiko and Sarah. So they do both share the role of convener. But behind them, you can see this lovely little garden that they've started growing. And this is just one side of it. There we go. That's finally shown up. There we are. Sorry, it's a bit slow, the internet, I think. But yeah, I just took some beautiful pictures of the garden, of the students. So we had some students because they have the roots, what is it called?
Yeah,
the
Roots and Shoots.
Roots and Shoots program at the school. So we had some representatives of that, of students who came and actually helped plant some herbs and some lettuce that day that we were out for the photo shoot. I've got a photo of the students next to some of the parsley and just sort of the garden just naturally growing up the side of the fence. They also have compost there. So these the two big compost bins, I guess, or what do we call them? Tubs.
We call them tumblers.
Tumblers. So you know much more about it than I do.
No,
but yeah,
great job.
But yeah, so this is kind of in the space that Sarah works. And I just thought it was really nice to share these lovely photos of, and this is all just outside the tuck shop door, I should say. So at the back of the door of the tuck shop is where this garden sits. So it's very accessible. And as you can see, that parsley is loving life to the fullest there. So it's absolutely like perfect for sunshine. And I know you care so much for that garden that I feel like sometimes you're in the garden more than you're in the tuck shop.
Oh, don't tell anyone that.
But anyway, so this is Sarah. Welcome everyone. But this is, I'll stop sharing now. So if you wanted to share some slides, Sarah, you're more than welcome to.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see if I can do that. That'll be interesting. I just mainly put some slides together because I thought it was more interesting than looking at me. But I've not, oh dear, I've not done this before. So it will be interesting to see if I can actually do it. Oh, okay. Maybe it won't work because it's telling me that Keynote is unknown.
That's okay. We can just talk to the slides. We don't mind looking at you. It's okay.
Yeah.
You can email them to me if you like, and I can try and open them up on the back end. That's easy.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no, I don't. It's I know that I have a Mac and I have Keynote, and that is probably the problem. So
well, it's not just the it's this. So if you open up Keynote and set it to the front page, and then you can, if you go into Zoom, you can share the screen. I actually might see if I can share my share screen so you can see it. So it's this one. So it's going to be a bit weird. Oh, no, that's not what you need to see. Where are we? What can you see? I need to know what you're seeing now. Oh.
That's okay. It doesn't really matter. I don't want to bore everyone with me trying to set it up. It was more that I just thought if I could share it, it'd be more interesting for everyone. And my computer's now asking me for passwords and all sorts of things. So it's very interesting.
No, that's fine. Well, what I can do is I can put up the slides again if you're worried about it, but I think you'll be fine.
Okay. Oh, hang on. Maybe it's here. Let's see if this works.
It works.
Can we see that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
Oh, cool.
There we go.
Okay. So I just thought I thought I would if I can work out how to share it better.
You're already sharing it, so you just got to play it.
Yeah, but it's not letting me reach my play section. Oh my gosh, how embarrassing. Okay.
All right.
Sorry, everyone. Oh, here we go. So basically, I just took a few photos of our garden so that you could see what it looks like. We set it up about 1.5 years ago. It's called Carla's Corner. because we had a convener that used to be there called Carla, and she unfortunately passed away. So the kids wanted to call it that. It went to the school and they decided that's what it would be called. It started really small, and it mainly started because we, this is what it looks like. So basically it's made up of 5 beds, 5 little beds from Bunnings. It was one originally, and it was mainly started because lettuce was crazy expensive, if anyone remembers, for a while. And we used so much lettuce that we just thought, surely we can grow our own lettuce. So 1 bed it was, and it was just lettuce basically to start with. And it was also born out of the fact that we had a lot of scraps, and because I'm fully into sustainability, I wanted to be able to compost the scraps and use, and so we were doing that. We bought the tumblers, and then we thought we wanted to use them in the garden. So we thought, why not have a garden? So yeah, this is just some pictures of the garden. It goes along this retaining wall, and then I've also started encroaching on the outside of the wall as well, building just with whatever I can find. You know, lots of cardboard. Everyone would have all the packaging that they get everything delivered in, and I just used a whole lot of cardboard and mulch and compost and basically whatever I could find to just layer on top of the soil and build a little garden basically, and stole a whole lot of rocks from the rock garden, which is just adjacent to the tuck shop. And then yeah, I just thought I'd tell you, I guess, I mean, what I'm mainly here to talk about is everything that we use in the tuck shop. As I said, it started off with lettuce, and then we just, you know, it just grew from there. Then we started trying growing tomatoes because that was something we use a lot of. And we're always using lots of herbs in all of our spaghettis and lasagnas and burger patties and that kind of thing, curries. So we just thought, let's try growing herbs. And I kept, you know, going onto Facebook and getting lots of little pots and putting things in them. And yeah, I just keep adding things. And then the school was so excited that they gave us more beds and more beds. And yeah, now we don't have any more room for beds. So we're kind of at capacity now. And yeah, so we grow spring onions. We try to grow things as well from the things that we get from, say we get a Coles order and we get lots of lettuce, hydroponic lettuce, which I find is better than the other lettuces that you can get. You can actually cut them and put the roots back in the ground. And I've discovered you can grow a whole lot of lettuces just like that for free rather than buying them from the nursery. And I'm just finding the more things and lettuce goes to seed like crazy, and so it just constantly is reproducing in our garden. So it's got to this really lovely point where we have all different stages of lettuce, and it's fantastic. So highly recommend leafy greens and lettuce in particular. But yeah, we try and grow lots of other things that is more interesting for the kids as well. They love all the things that smell nice, so basils and thymes and not so much parsley, but they love picking the parsley and eating it. So yeah, these are just some of the things we grow. We try to grow things too just for the kids. Mostly we try to grow things first and foremost for the tuck shop. So things we can use in our veggie boxes, like little cherry tomatoes and snow peas. We tried growing carrots, wasn't super successful in our beds, but I think our beds are a little bit not deep enough. But yeah, that's what we first and foremost grow. And then after that, we grow things that are interesting. That's just a picture of, I don't know if anyone else in their tuck shops uses a whole lot of lettuce, but it feels like we buy, I don't know, I must buy like, I was at one point buying 12 lettuces a week to try and just keep up. But yeah, so am I talking too fast? Sorry. And then we try and grow other things that the students like to see. Like the students love it if they can like pick little cucumbers, or they can pick beans or flowers that they can eat. They love it when they can pick flowers and they're allowed to eat them. So edible flowers are great. All the nasturtiums and the little violas and all sorts of things that the kids can eat. we have lots of melons that just like to reproduce because I guess the gardens always need nutrients and I can't always afford, or the school doesn't give us a lot of budget in terms of being able to provide the gardens with nutrients. I'm always digging little holes and putting stuff from the compost into the garden, and we always end up with things growing that way as well. So lots of tomatoes, melons, cucumbers, things popping up all the time. Yeah, they're just some more pictures of the things that we grow. And
Sarah, I had a quick, sorry to interrupt. There was a quick question from Deb. She just wanted to know how many students do you cater for at Kenmore South?
Well, we have 750 students in the school. In terms of catering, we probably do, like in terms of what we provide in the tuck shop, maybe like 500 on a given, no, that would be a week. So on a given day, probably 250 orders. So we never get a lot more than that. Is that the kind of question? Is that what you mean? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we, I guess it's mainly things that that we grow in the garden that we can either use on burgers and in wraps and in salads and veggie boxes. Or it's things that we can grow like zucchinis, like Keith said, things that we can also then put into like curries, lasagnas, spaghettis, that kind of thing. Lots of, I don't know, I hate calling it hidden veg, but hidden veg. And just to as much fiber and that we can get into there, into the food. Yeah, stop me if there's anything and you need to know. These are the things that, so we've kind of got to a point that we are now thinking about what we can aspire to grow, because the school has loved the garden so much that they're now going to actually build a dedicated space in the next year. So because I've tried to explain to them we're limited with what we can grow in the little beds, and they love everything, and it's just caused so much impact. The kids love it, the community loves it. There's just so much engagement with the garden that the school thinks that they're going to build some nice big beds. So I'm very excited about the this what's going to happen in the future. So yeah, we hope to be able to have things, a lot more things like that the kids can access and learn about through the gardens. And these are some of the things. Then, oh, and I just thought I'd put in a picture of the compost hub because kind of goes hand in hand with the garden. So the garden, you know, we're trying to promote that idea of, you know, the circular, so I'm trying to think of the right word, but, you know, basically what comes, that the food waste that we get from the food goes back into the compost. And then we've been sort of putting up a lot of signage and sort of letting the kids know what we're doing in the tumblers and then how we use that back in the garden and how that helps the plants to grow that they love so much. So it's a pretty important part and goes hand in hand. And there's lots of interesting pictures for you to show what a lot of people don't think that they can compost. I pretty much compost everything. I probably go against the actual rules of composting a little bit, but it seems to work. So yeah, anyway, you can talk to me about compost if you want to. That's not really the topic. So, and we have a lot of signage. So I'm always putting up signs about the garden, about the compost, about water, about food waste. And I just think all these things go hand in hand. And it seems to spark the interest of the children. And I don't know, in the garden, they go to the garden, they get what they like, and then they see the signs, and it kind of all works together. So yeah, and then there's other things that the kids, with the garden, the interest that it's created with the children, you know, it's also gone home and the kids tell their parents about it, and parents have started doing things like buying little bee hotels, and we've started drying seeds, and kids are taking them home and planting things in their own gardens. So it's really having a knock-on effect in the community, which is what I was hoping it would do, and it's fantastic. It's engaging everybody at the moment. And the kids love to, well, there's a lot more benefits than what I've written here, but number one, it's awesome that we can access food outside our tuck shop to use in the tuck shop. You know, if we run out of veggies, we can run out and grab something from the garden usually and make a little veggie dipper box, or if we run out of lettuce, there's always something you can go and cut and put in salads. Happens a lot. And the kids are really interacting with the garden. They seem to be learning a lot about food, a lot about plants. I mean, when we first started, they really didn't seem to know a lot about food, which I was kind of, and where it came from and how it grew. And I was quite surprised, to be honest, that the kids weren't as knowledgeable as I thought they would be. But I guess it's, it's all those things that when you do things hands-on and the visuals right in front of them and they can interact with something, they can, it's really spurred them on. So yeah, I just put some pictures of what the kids like to do. They love to come and take spoons. We have a little decorating station now, and they love interacting with the garden and making, that's just a video, sorry. And making little, the Barbie garden, as you can see. The Barbie garden was real big for a while. I don't know, should I stop talking? I could go on forever about the garden.
I love how it's I think that day-to-day interface with the garden and the students is so lovely, and it's such a good reminder. And I think because it's so present, like it is basically smack bang in the middle of the school. So it's not down some corner somewhere where the kids never visit. Like they are walking past this garden all day, every day. They have to basically go past it to get to the tuck shop if they're coming from a side of the school, or if they're going in between classrooms or going down to the sporting fields. They pass it every single day. So the exposure, I think, of where this organic garden, because it's organically established, I guess, has been set up, I think, is fabulous, Sarah. You've done such a lovely job. So you should be really proud of it. Like
Donna, I love how it's just started out small and just gained momentum, and it's become part of the school community life. So the kids take home stories to their parents and their families, and the school's now backing it and creating a larger kitchen garden for you. That's the kind of thing that Pick of the Crop really, really likes to see and really can get involved in. And we really support that stuff around family connections and also around we can support teachers to reflect on how to link these things to the curriculum, like all that stuff, that signage you've got around the compost areas. We can actually support teachers to research where they can link lessons to the curriculum around those things, so that they actually become integrated in the classroom as much as the outdoor part of life of the school.
Yeah,
That's
it's amazing how it did start off very small, and I really didn't know where it was going to go, and as I said, it really was just us growing lettuce for a really long time, and then it just moved forward, and it's just so wonderful that the kids are so involved now. I mean, I can talk about, there's lots of cons, and everyone would know what the cons are. The time and the maintenance can be a little bit difficult, but I think it's worth starting something. And I've found now there's more people who are definitely interested. If you approach the school and ask for help, at first I was kind of like, is that something I should do as a tuck shop convener, go and ask the school? But the kids loved it so much that it started to we've created rosters, and there's the schools really got behind it because they can see the benefits, and so it's a benefit for us and it's a win for the school. It seems to be working all around for us, and it's aesthetically pleasing and very calming to look outside the tuck shop at the garden. I mean,
so true. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Actually, I concur wholeheartedly about what you're saying about the school being 100% behind you, because when we were out there, Sarah, like when we were visiting, like the school management was just so passionate about everything that you'd been doing. So I think it's such a great example of just if you wanted to make it happen and you just started small and it's just picked up steam and it's doing such, it's just wonderful. Now, does anyone have any questions? I know we're getting close to time. I know Megan had to go. She said, very inspiring, Sarah. Thanks, but she had to leave. And Deb has a question. Thank you to the speakers. There are some things we can implement into the secondary school. We have a greenhouse area, so maybe possible to use some of that space. So absolutely, Deb. I think there's some legs to grow there. So what if you like, I might share an email with Keith and Sam at the end of this with everyone, so you've got their details if you'd like.
I'm trying to work out how to stop sharing. Sorry.
That's a really pretty picture. Just leave it up. No one needs to see me. Like, it's fine. Leave that up. That's great. Let's do that.
Okay.
The rest of my slides are super boring. So
Okay.
honestly, this is a much better slide to be looking at. But yeah, so did you have any questions for Sarah or for Pick of the Crop? If you do think of anything, please do let us know. Pop it in the chat. But I'll also follow up with an email like I normally do, just so thanks for attending. And I'll CC and Sam and Keith into that email. So if you did want to reach out directly, Deb, you can do that. Keith is actually working in with the Bundaberg growers. So there's elements of sort of working in or near your area. So it's about maybe if it's not there yet, maybe it's looking at how we could maybe get that program out to you. But they'll talk to you more directly about that, Deb. So you're welcome. But
We
thank
do
you for
encourage people to go and talk to their PNCs in schools, because you'd be amazed when you find people who are interested in what you're interested in, how much they'll support you. Doesn't always happen, but I was surprised about how much support we got. Sorry for talking over top of you.
I just make a plug as well that parents love this work, because they are really surprised to hear that their own kids are tasting new fruit and veg, or are requesting that they buy certain fruit and veg in the weekly shop, or they've tried things out. So yes, parents once they see it in action, they love it. So.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I was just going to add to that as well. I think I've sometimes spoken to teachers and they say, I've had teachers say, oh no, everyone wants the hamburgers, the chips, that's all anyone wants. But it's often when there's a few more options provided, that the kids love it. It's actually the adults that don't like the changes. So you see lots of schools now that are selling fruit as their snacks, and where before that was not even heard of in certain schools. So yeah, it's definitely, kids love it.
I must say that sometimes I write little notes on, I mean, it's not always possible because, everyone's very busy in the tuck shop convening role, but sometimes I make little stickers in the morning to say that, the lettuce on your burger is from the garden, or, things like that. And the kids get really excited when they know that it's come from something that they've, helped progress. So yeah, I found that to be really interesting as well.
Well, that's wonderful. I honestly, I get so inspired by little stories, and just hearing the fact that Pick of the Crop is implemented and it's growing momentum across the state. It's only 3 or 4 years old, and so I think it's 112 schools now. I think perhaps it's like, so in 3 years it's growing really quickly. So it's a very exciting program to get part of and get involved in if you can. I'm just going to say, if you did want to get in contact with Sarah, I'm sure you're more than happy to answer emails, Sarah, when you can, if you're up for it. So,
of course. Yeah, I would love to. You know me, Donna, I can talk everyone's ear off, even on email.
Perfect. We love that. Well, look, thanks everyone. That's pretty much it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this. I've learnt a lot, actually. It's very nice not actually me being the talker for once. Raylene was just saying we've started a garden this year, but would love them to grow for the tuck shop. Yeah, I think it's a good goal to get to, isn't it, Raylene? Start small and aim for something to grow. Even if it's just one food item is probably a good strategy, and then see how you go from there. I like the idea of using the lettuces that you buy from the shops and then reusing them again. I'll have to YouTube how you do that, Sarah.
Oh,
not
it's
quite sure.
really not even YouTubeable. You just basically get the hydroponic lettuce and you leave a little tiny bit above the roots and literally put it in the ground.
Oh,
Cover it.
Is that
And
easy?
I've been so impressed about how well it's worked. Maybe not if you're in Brisbane right now. The summer is really having playing havoc with some of the garden, but yeah, try it in spring. It's awesome.
You do it with spring onions as well.
Yeah, spring
Really
onions.
good.
With a
Same-
lot, a
same
lot of
method?
things. Yeah.
So that's
Okay,
how
I
our
love
spring
spring onions.
onions are grown, just from that as well. You just leave a little bit of above the root.
Yep.
Put it in the garden.
And leeks would be the same, I'm assuming, because it's a sort of similar type of. I love
don't see
leeks,
why
so
not.
yep.
I don't
give it a
see why
go.
not. Yeah.
There's a whole YouTubing, if you are YouTubing, about growing
Yeah.
things from offcuts. And there's some really good videos on that.
That's good. All right. Well, I think everyone needs to go. Deb's saying goodbye as well.
Thank you
But
very
that's
much.
some fabulous tips. Thank you guys for joining. And Sam and Keith, thank you so much for coming along and speaking about Pick of the Crop. I really appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thanks for
Donna.
having us. See
See
everyone.
you later.
Thanks
Bye.
for having us, Donna.
Bye, Sarah. Bye. Bye,
Bye.
everyone. Bye, Raylene, Jess. Bye-bye.